you. Hi guys, are you all okay? Hello, welcome to the festival. I hope you're all settled in and comfy and ready for everything and uber excited. We've got the timetables on the page. We have got one over there as well if you want to take a picture of it, just about what's on, and hopefully you can navigate around there. We've got Home Farm in the corner. Hello. They're up from the lakes, or down from the lakes should I say. They've brought all the produce. Thank you so much guys for catering and cooking for everybody. And then over in the other corner we've got the Real Food Company. They've got amazing products and amazing experiences and the fantastic people. So I hope you managed to get around and have a good nosy and make a lot of friends as well. So I just wanted to basically explain a little bit of why we put the festival on. So I met Phil, about 4 or 5 years ago now, and I went on a really big journey myself with Phil's help. But we've noticed that with everything sort of going on in the world and all the differences, it's better when we're together, and it's better when you come under different things. You know, everybody's got different passions and different loves, and the main thing that we can all agree on is our health, isn't it? Health is wealth. It's the most important thing. Nobody can take it from us. It's something that belongs to us and it's in our control. And I feel like over the years we forget that. You know, things are taken away from us. We think we'll go for advice somewhere and we'll listen to it straight away, because our schooling and our teachings of all through our life has taught us, you know, I don't feel well, I'm going to go to a doctor. And when do we stop and ask, well, what happened before doctors? What happened, you know, before we had to go and ask for help? How did we survive? How did it work? How did we get as far as what we have, you know, come through all these years? So this is what's delved us back into sort of the ancestral living, and through meeting Phil and all the experience of everything you've sort of gone through the years, the dots have just sort of connected, you know, and it's amazing how many people can come together with the same information but different experiences, completely different experiences, and still achieve the goals, you know, through proper learning. Things with salt, energy, what you eat, what you put into your body, and it's so important.
Can I just cut in a little bit there and interrupt Lydia rudely and just say how amazing it's been, you know, organising this with Lydia. Lydia just thinks of everything that I would never ever think of, and she's been so brilliant. And so I'm going to let her take it away from here, because I think I hear the wood turning up and we want some good blazing fire pits later on. So I've got to go and sort that out. But really, seriously, Lydia, and the journey she's been on, and I'm going to go out there and I want to come back in and listen to this and tell me when you want this clicked.
Okie doke, yeah.
Oh, and always point at that. It's difficult getting used to I'm useless at it as a drummer, you know.
I'm going to start dancing soon.
There you go. See you in a sec.
Thank you, Phil. Yeah, so basically I just wanted to speak about what had sort of got me here, you know, what's got me sort of stood here, in front of a load of people, and why I'm shaking a little bit. So when I was a child, I went to school as normal, I watched TV as normal, or as normal stereotype would have you do these days. And I was very overweight as a child. I was a very big girl, and I always ate oven food, pizza, chicken nuggets, chips, sandwiches galore. And it really had a physical effect on obviously my mobility. But I had this underlying pain at night, and it was like an achy, burning pain in my joints, and it wouldn't stop, and it went on for years. And I'd get to a certain amount of exercise and I would have to stop. It'd be like pins, really bad pain. So I went to the doctor, but you can imagine an 8-year-old complaining about joint pain. It's growing pains, you're fine. Went back a couple of weeks later, it's still there, it's not gone. Oh, it's growing pains, it's fine. in the end, my mum and dad ended up paying for like a private consult, and I was diagnosed with hypermobility. And hypermobility is where you've got too much play in the joint and you've not got the coverage of the cartilage to sort of absorb that shock. So you end up with like arthritic conditions and pain and dislocations and all sorts of things. So when I was 14, that's when I was actually properly diagnosed with hypermobility. So I went from the age of 8 to 14 in a lot of pain, and through that I just sat, and I would sit, because the more I did, the more pain I was in. And nobody could sort of link, oh, we need to change your eating, or we need to change your diet. It was just, you need to do more exercise. That's all that was ever said to me. You need to do more exercise. But you can imagine being told to do something that's really, really painful, and the concept of being asked to do that to, I don't know, lose weight, I think the intention was. It was really, really hard. So for years, the weight gain just accumulated. And by the age of 25, I was 17.5 stone. Couldn't walk up the stairs. I was riddled with depression, anxiety, panic attacks, chronic fatigue, and it was a lifestyle. It really was. You know, you'd order your Netflix, you'd order your takeaways, you'd watch TV at night, go to work, come back home from work, and it was just a programme that ran. And the biggest thing that trigger was I had an ear infection, and it would not leave, and I had it for 6 weeks, and it was one of those where you stood up and it'd take your head, and I had 6 different types of antibiotics. Nothing would work, and I was sat in the shop one day. I used to work for my dad, and a lovely lady come in and she said, have you tried garlic tablets? And I was like, no, what are you going on about, garlic tablets? And she was like, try garlic tablets. So 6 antibiotics in, nothing was working, walking through Asda, and there was some odourless garlic tablets, and they were like £1.20. And I thought, do you know what, go on. So I took them home, tried them, 3 days gone. I have never had an ear infection since, and that is from one thing that I've changed from learning or taking some advice. So then I thought, right, there's more to this, there's more things you can do. But obviously when you're stuck in a programme of going to work, watching TV, eating your foods and carrying on with that lifestyle, you're pulled back in to that sort of routine, aren't you? So every time you try and learn or do something, it's like, oh, I've got to go to work, I can't book it. So always ping back to the takeaways and what have you. Then my dad got very poorly. He was diagnosed with cancer, and he had lung cancer. And where it was at the top, it was right through to the other side where his heart was. And 2 years previous, he had a heart stent. My dad was always a smoker, and the physician said to him, you've not got lung cancer from smoking. We don't know where it's come from. It's a very rare cancer that you've got, but nevertheless, you know, you've got it. So you're a really strong man, we're going to hit you with immunotherapy, and we're going to try our best. That was it for me. My dad was my absolute world. I was on Google, it was like immunotherapy, what does it do, what does cancer do, what is cancer? And all the things that I could look at was all the NHS stuff. You know, it was the description of what diseases and what ailments are and what illnesses are. So through that I was talking to the oncologist, and I was like, right, Dad's on this, he's going to get up at this, he's going to do this, he's going to eat that. I'm not letting him eat any more pastries, any sugars or anything like that. I'm going to stick him on veg. I'm going to detox that, you know, as much as we can, because I always had in my back of my head that, you know, detox it just made sense. You know, you're going to detox the toxins. Toxins aren't good for us, so if we detox them, that's surely better than taking them in. So I used to have these conversations with the oncologist, and I'd be like, what can I feed him? And he's like, just let him have what he wants. And I was like, what do you mean? And he's like, just let him have what he wants. You know, if he wants a pie, you let him have a pie. And I said, well, it's his health, isn't it? You know, if we get him fit, he can take the treatment better. That was in my head, you know, he can take that treatment if he's fit and well. And they were like, but, you know, he's got a condition, he's stage 4, and you've got to let him enjoy his time. And I was like, okay. I was like, Dad, what do you want to do? Oh, I'll have a pie and a cake. and it was like pies and cakes every day, and I had this itch in me. I was like, there's something. I've asked the doctor how to get my dad healthy in order to accept the treatment, and I've been told to just let him carry on with the same lifestyle that's possibly caused, you know, this ailment. So I carried on, went with the oncologist, do as you're told, and unfortunately his diagnosis he was meant to last at least 4 years, and he passed within the year. And you know, the people that I met through his treatment are, hand on heart, the loveliest people I've ever met. They really are. They're not bad people. They're really, really good people. But the information that I've learnt now, it's baffling how it's missed by them. Nutrition and our health, literally, if you think about our body as an engine and what we put in, that's the easiest way to sort of navigate your body, really. You wouldn't put petrol in a diesel car. What would happen? It would break down. Our bodies are self-healing, aren't they? So they're constantly trying to fight whatever you put in. They're constantly going, no, I'm not giving in. You're not having me today, you know. But if you keep putting that in, you're going to also have this fight within, which is this disbalance, isn't it? So, unfortunately, my learning only came after Dad passed, because the shock of not understanding why, following every single thing, every pharmaceutical, taking his blood pressure and monitoring it, and I wanted to know what system the NHS went off, so I discovered it's germ theory. And then I thought, right, well, what's sort of the counterbalance to germ theory? And I started to look into Turan theory, and then that was just the biggest sort of eye-opener to health ever, because when you think about it, germ theory is like a goldfish bowl, isn't it? You control the water, you control what goes in, you can treat the water, you can treat the fish if they become poorly. But in a natural environment, the fish will go and find their own. They will go and think for themselves. They will go because they have to. They will move around a pond and navigate even around the world with certain fish. But point being is that you've got two options. You can try and control, or you can be part of. And when you ask yourself, like, what are we? We're organic beings, aren't we? We're not mechanics. You could turn us into mechanics these days, couldn't you? You can chop your arm off and have a metal one. But point being is that we are organic, self-healing beings. And I feel like that knowledge is sort of lost and taken away from us, isn't it? In a lot of ways, because we're taught that if you get sick, go there. If you get poorly, go there. And instead, go back to when you're 5 and 6 and you're out enjoying yourself and you fall over and you scratch your knee. What does your skin do? What does your skin do? It heals itself, doesn't it? And when you expand that thinking to what happens inside and ask yourself, well, how can I help the inside heal better? Take examples of your experiences, of everything that you've ever seen, of people that you meet. You know, I always say to Phil, like, we look around, and the brilliant example is you look at doctors these days as well, their health, or our health secretary. Would you take health advice off somebody who is in a state of disbalance, or would you take health advice off somebody who has got it? And I know physical is not what is inside, and what goes on up here is a massive part of it. But we are in a world now where our health advisors are not healthy, and the people who are really, really healthy are seen as like an extreme style of living. And it's like, I was thinking about the Olympics the other day, and I said, isn't it funny how we sat there sort of watching fit people on TV, like as in fitness and healthy, and then you sort of go out to your local community and there's nothing, and we're idolising it in sort of one point. You know, why is that a standard of the superhumans because they're healthy? And it's not. We've all got those bodies. We've all been born with bones and muscles and different structures, and we've got DNA codes within us that can be unlocked, you know, upon environmental factors, i.e. when you do cold water swims, that shock does something, doesn't it, to your cells? when you go into heat. It's all catalysts in science. When you look at your science experiments, what you wanted to do when you were as a kid, you know, you'd have your Bunsen burners and that would heat, that would then make things go faster. So you can use science and you can use all the experience of everything that we've ever learned to navigate properly through misinformation and good information and good experience, can't you? And I hope that through all the talks you take the pieces that you need to, and it just fills in those gaps for you, you know, to do whatever anybody is here for. If it's individual use, you know, if you want to come here because you're on a journey for yourself, you want to accumulate more information to use it properly and go forward, amazing. Or if you're here because you want to expand that and share with your family, amazing. It doesn't just stop with us as well, you know, what we can do for ourselves, we can help others by sharing that knowledge and really, really make the difference of a community. Because the sad thing is, it's like when I've lost my dad, but I've still got other family members. I remember their transition and seeing me as well go from 17.5 stone to 8.5 stone. They were like, wow, you look amazing, Lyd. You look brilliant, what have you done? And I was like, oh, they want to know. So I'd sit there and I'd say, I've done this and I've done that and I've cut this out and I've done that. And they were like, yeah, brill.
Do you want to have a look at that?
And that would be it. Yeah, shall I? Right, so this is me. So, I know. So yeah, it's very, very hard to look at that, to be honest, because I spent so long like that. And I wish I'd given myself the choice many, many years before to say, Lydia, you deserve that body on the left, you know, that is achievable. And I was always told by my gran, you're big boned. You were big boned. And Ben's got a lovely picture, hasn't he, of the big boned and the small boned, and it's literally, we have got the same skeleton, you know, we're not born with big bones, are we? But when people gave me those excuses, I would use them. It's like, oh yeah, I'll never get thin, I'll never have that body type. And you condition your mind as well to believe that you can't break out of these cycles, you know, oh, my leg's gone, or my wrist's gone, or, you know, I can't do it, it's just going to get worse. And when you condition your head to think that is what happens. And when you condition your mind to actually believe in your experiences, to actually listen to your body as well, because I think the massive difference is, does anybody actually know when they're hungry and when they're not? Your belly rumbles, doesn't it, when it's hungry? But if you notice through the day, sometimes you're like, oh, I just fancy a Jaffa cake, or oh, I fancy a piece of toast, and it's like, what? That's not coming from there. Where's that coming from? The cravings. So it's addiction, it's another form of, but when you listen to your body, and I went carnivore for 6 months, very, very strict, and this is what did the change, you know, working with Phil and all the information, and just the positivity, like, thank you, because there's 20 odd years between me and my brother and sister, and I think from the 90s to the 70s TVs happened, and they mustn't have had TVs, and like as soon as I got TVs and Barbie dolls, it was like, Lyd's spoilt, and it's like, well no, they just didn't have them things when, like, you're dead old, so they didn't have them things. But they always teased me, you know, they were always like, oh, you're back, and it was always negative, always, all through my childhood. So the change and the breath of fresh air to have somebody turn around to you and go, yeah, you can. Yeah, you can. And then I'm ringing up going, I've done half a stone this week, what's going on? Like, am I all right? And he's going, you're doing it. You know, it wasn't, oh, no, you're not, no, you're not, no, you're not. It was, you're doing it. And that drive of positivity is so important. I don't know if anyone's seen the rice test. I was telling friends the other day about this rice test, and you've got 3 tubes of rice, basically, it's cooked. And you talk to one really negative, you talk to one really positive, and you leave the other one in the middle. And the negative one turned black with mould, and the positive one stayed quite white. And I just think that is an amazing example of the energies and our words and what we are as beings. You know, I believe we're here to change the energies of what's going on. I feel like the system's taking it so far down. We're suppressed everywhere. You can't go to your co-op and buy grass-fed organic meat, but you can from your farmer that's probably 15 miles away. And that's, for me, scary. I remember being hungry somewhere and it was like, what can I eat? Oh my gosh, I can't eat anything. There's nothing in this restaurant or that place that actually is toxin free. So what am I going to do? So this is where you sort of find that balance as well, don't you? You learn about your detoxing, so your boraxes and all your other, you know, salt water, fasting. Amazing. Why have we been that? Why has that been so demonized? Literally, it's crazy, isn't it? The extremities of where things have been taken in thought. And it always leads back to, well, we don't make money from it. That's why. If we told people that, you know, that water and salt is good, well, where does salt come from? It comes from the earth. Well, everyone can go and get some salt whenever you want. Can't tell people that. So it's all about sharing the information and freeing people, freeing the mind of what you can do, what you can't do. And I hope that pictures like this, and it's not just me, Phil, you've done it yourself, haven't you? And there's probably others that are in connection with, if you know anybody who's been on carnivore or keto. It is life-changing, and it's not just physical, it's mental, and the clarity that you get is unbelievable. And we've got some great speakers, haven't we, who will go through all that. But yeah, is there any questions or anything you want to ask? Anyone?
What was the reaction of your family when that happened?
Well, my mum I hadn't seen for a while. It had been a couple of years since my dad passed because of, we'll not go into that. But when my sister opened the door, she said, "Hiya, can I help you?" I was like, it's me, it's Lyd. Honest. And she didn't, that's my sister, it was unrecognisable. Because it's not just, like, that Lydia was so low vibrational as well. Everything was, I don't care. When you change your mind, it just changes everything. And she didn't recognise me because I had a smile on my face. You know, that was the difference. And people come up and they're like, "Where have you gone?" You know, and it's like, well, I'm still here, just a bit healthier. I can run up hills now. And that's the other thing as well with the hypermobility. I'm not meant to be able to do the things that I can do. I remember speaking to my doctor about it and he was like, "Yeah, but you can't do that." And I was like, "But I've done it." And they were like, "Well, it'll just be one of them things. It might be a misdiagnosis." And I was like, "What, 4 doctors?" Because it went on in the adulthood basically. I went and sort of knocked on a couple of doctors' doors and was like, "Can you just re-diagnose me? I think there's something else." And there was one doctor that actually linked it all under EDS. Am I right?
Ellis Danlos.
Thank you. I'm not repeating that again. So yeah, EDS. And when I looked into that as well, that took me down what we call the rabbit holes of the other pharmaceuticals. And you know, children, we're adults, aren't we? And we can advocate for children because they don't have the voices and the knowledge to actually say, "I don't want that and I don't need that." And I remember when I had my daughter, and she had the vitamin K injection and then the first one down her throat. I have never felt so unsettled around that, you know, like it really just didn't fill me with confidence. And something changed, and obviously with me losing my dad, and I did lose a lot of trust in the pharmaceuticals, and I did nosedive into the vaccine side of it because of the EDS and the link with it. And so both my girls are, from that point on, Lil didn't have any more after that, and neither did Lara. Neither girls have had any other antibiotics they've never been to the doctors, they've never been admitted for illnesses. They have 3 temperatures a year, which is normally in seasonal, and observing the organic sort of natural way that they process any sort of toxins, environmental, what people would call viruses, what others would call toxins in the air or toxins around what we're sharing or shedding, because we all do it, and when we're connected, our RNA speaks to each other. So this is why sometimes we catch things, but really it's body speaking to, you know, if you're in a room and one body's going, oh, there's something in here, I need to start coughing, I need to expel what's in it, so you start coughing. That person's body next to them will be talking to the other person's body through the cells, and they'll be like, that person's coughing, well, I need to do that. And your body does do that, it copies things. If you notice, have you ever walked in a room and everyone's down, and then within 10 minutes you start like that, like, ugh. But you walk into a room that's positive, and within 10 minutes you're positive. It's the same with the way our cells work. So what we do and what we take in, it does affect other people, and it all has this big massive ripple effect upon the communities of everything. So yeah, that's where I'm up to with that one. Oh, and I did before carnivore as well. Has anyone tried the aloe vera shots? That diet. And the Slim Fast.
Whoa.
Weight Watchers. All of those. Yeah, I've
Lydia.
Yep.
It's interesting, the aloe vera, because I did become a distributor for Forever Living.
Yes, that's the one.
It's the C9 cleanse I think you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I did do that. I did it because I wanted to see how I sort of found it before I could recommend it to people. And it did actually, it did work, it was great, you know, and I loved it. And I saw, somebody took a photograph of me before and after. Now, I've never been fat.
No.
I mean, I think the heaviest I've ever been in my entire life is about 8 stone or just under. So I sit comfortably about 7.5 stone. But I did, and I got down to about 7 stone 1. So I did, in the 9 days, I did lose, you know, and it was visible.
Well, plants are medicine, aren't they?
Yeah, absolutely. But the other thing, you mentioned detoxing before, and one thing that these companies are not allowed to say is it's a detox. You have to call it a cleanse.
Yeah.
Because detox, people go,
What's toxins?
Why do we have to get rid of the toxins? Why have we got toxins? So it's quite interesting that you said that as well.
It is. It's the more you can complicate it, you can really complicate. And I feel like the NHS with labelling diseases, you know, we've got so many things. We've got chronic fatigue, we've got fibromyalgia, we've got MS. All these conditions, when you actually look at them, and you could probably map it in the body of what toxin causes what disease. And I bet you could remove that toxin and that would literally just, you know, and it's finding that map, isn't it, of the body. So we could sit there and spend all day doing that, which is what pharmaceutical companies do. Or you can just detox and stop taking the toxins in. So it's all about prevention. And then the way that you would treat it technically would be to do the detoxing, wouldn't it? It's
and I still drink aloe vera every day.
Yeah, well, plants are medicine, but like pharmaceuticals, if you are dependent on them, so if you have them every day, which some people still have every single day, and if you, well, not dependent, sorry Sue, I didn't.
No, it's only,
you know what I mean, don't you? Yeah, a daily routine, isn't it?
Routine.
It's a tiny.
I'm convinced that's what made my hair go like that.
Yeah, well, there's so many healing properties in it, isn't it? But it's not. It's a natural, organic thing, isn't it? What you're putting into your body. It's not processed. There's no added toxins in it.
Yeah.
It's a natural process of making it, should I say? It's not put into a machine and things are added to it. And
well, you do have to be careful because if you buy it off the supermarket shelf,
it
you're
is.
not going to get the pure
No.
aloe vera.
And that's the other thing that I feel like I need to challenge in my sort of area is that I don't want to live in. So say for instance, I've thought about this, about just sort of seeing to myself, going off, you know, could buy me a little house in the woods and be fine and whatnot. But what happens when, say, for instance, 40 years' time I go out and the world is overrun and we've got McDonald's on every corner, we've got fast food on every corner, and it is getting that way. And it's like, are we here to be aware of what's going on so we can sort of be the pushback? I mean, if you go to the lakes, they actually refuse takeaways in the communities. They say, sorry, no, it's not for us. And if you stop off at some of the service stations in the Lake District, it's farm shops. Why have we been dumped with the rubbish? What's the difference? And I think it's the people. You know, the lakes, they've got a stronger sort of foot for the environment. They care about the environment, they care about animals, they care about people, they care about, they understand that we need the water, we need the grass to live. You know, they could sell it all off and monopolise on it, but they're very strong belief in passing things on to the families. Round here, and in the concrete jungles of the world, we haven't got that structure anymore, have we? And our system of sort of finances have changed as well. So for me, if you can accumulate this knowledge and then go back home and start building things, you know, growing your own things and having your animals eat them, and then having your animals, and even if you wanted to open your own farm, everything seems really far-fetched, but look at that, that's far-fetched. How different is that? Sorry, I'll point to this one. But you break the barriers in your mind of the capabilities of what you can do, because you can physically change, and then you can physically change things around you as well. And would you rather see a butcher's open, or would you rather see a Chinese restaurant or a fast food or anything sort of unhealthy? I mean, we've got a balance, haven't we, in this world of culture and different things, and we can go and have different experiences. And we've got the knowledge to know that, yeah, you can eat really, really healthy, and you can go on holiday for a couple of days. You can eat what you want, you feel rubbish, but you know that your body, if you aid it to get better, it'll be better. So you don't have to go to the strictness of, just do this at the minute, because we're not living in a world where everything's sort of accessible to eat. But we can start making the changes to have the balance come back. So we've got more animals around, so we've got more things accessible to us, and we can work with people within our communities, the councils, schools. You know, imagine schools going into the farms and actually learning about what animals are, where they come from. I had a 9-year-old and she didn't know there was chicken in chicken nuggets. That is terrifying. There's kids that don't know that food is grown and you know, from our planet. They think it comes from a factory. Where do you get food from? The shop? No, you don't get it from the shop, it comes from here. But when you get those little brains thinking for themselves, utter magic happens. But when we have, obviously, what's going on with the drive of the McDonald's and the fast food joints and stuff, it's now deemed cool, isn't it? Everything's cool. Oh, I want one because my friend's got one. And it's those sort of things that are clashing at the minute massively. You know, with our friends and family. I bet everybody's got friends and family in here that struggle to sort of listen or open their minds to what you're trying to say, and that is so hard. But always keep the connection, because the big plan is always divide and conquer. So the best way to sort of get back to that plan and fight it in the best is to connect, isn't it? And to sort of raise the frequency and do positive things, and just try your hardest to share it with everybody if you can, and uplift each other, because that's what we are, we're people, and when we come together we can do and make amazing things. And unfortunately there's also people that can come together and do awful things. So, you know, break the barriers of the mind and just go for it and take in as much information that you can. And yeah, I hope you have a really, really good weekend. Thank you so much for listening, and if anybody's got any questions, because I think it's Phil gone wood in it now.
Lydia? As you was talking about where it comes from.
Has he turned up?
Turned up a lot, yeah, to demonstrate where it comes from.
Awesome.
How
Well,
to get your food.
Forster's Farm shopper here as well. Right, Steve.
Did exercise or becoming more active play any part in your transformation?
No. So I'm not lazy, but after years of being in agony with exercise, it really put me off. I was scared to exercise. I remember I got a personal trainer when I was about 16 stone, and he put me on the bike, and I did about 15 seconds and I was crying, and he was like, "What's up?" I said, "I can't, my knees are really, really hurting." He was like, "Oh, get off, get off." And I was like, "Why?" And he was like, "Because if you're getting pain, he said, you're going to be doing damage because of the joints, how heavy you are." So when I went on carnivore, it literally just started to melt off. Your whole body just changes. I think it's more the inflammation. You've got your fat layers, and then I think it's more the inflammation of what goes on inside that really expands you. Because when I played with it from being strict carnivore, and then if I try pizza, whew, that belly straight back. It's like is it colitis where your belly blows up? Unbelievable. And it's like, what? Why is that's not good? Why is that doing that? Why is that available? Why is that available if that's doing that? And then again, the trace of money and whatnot. So no, but since losing the weight and gaining that confidence and getting it more, yes, the exercise, strength training, mobility, it really, really helps. But it's like me and Mark were talking about it the other day, it should be in our physical daily life, shouldn't it? We shouldn't be sat behind computer desks like that. We should be running up hills chasing rabbits, or, you know, running around doing this, that, the other, carrying, fetching, cleaning, cooking and walking, travelling. We used to be travellers. We can walk to other countries. I had an argument with someone the other week, and he was like, "You can't walk somewhere." I was like, "Well, how have we got there?" At some point, we've spread around. You know, someone's built a boat out of wood. Someone's built a boat. We're all capable. You know, the person who invented the boats and the Titanics, it's still another human like us. It's just their passion was that they wanted to cross that sea, and nothing was going to stop them. So they built a boat and they did it. So it's mindset all the time. If you want something and you've got a goal and it's a positive one and you've got good intention as well, because I think the difference is as well with a lot of things in the world is that not everybody's consciously aware of others. Some people are just consciously aware of themselves, and that's very hard, isn't it, in everything that's going on, to sort of guard yourself with as well, because you can open yourself up and emotionally and things like that. So it really is learning about what your body is and finding out. We need manuals, don't we, of sort of what button does what and what's this, but keeping your magnetic field safe, you know, keeping your body safe, keeping yourself protected so you can help others, and putting the life mask on again, and so that you can do that. So it's just really important, I think, to try and keep toxin free and try and take that back to our environments and create that around us as well. Definitely. Is there any other questions of anything? No. Cool. Phil?